On the eve of his wedding, Ethan found out that his girlfriend of 3 years, Olivia, saw him as a stand-in. Instead of causing a scene, he simply called his parents and told them he was calling off the wedding. For the next couple of weeks, Ethan stopped caring about Olivia's actions. He struggled to find an excuse to cancel, but unexpectedly, a male friend, Jake, showed up and repeatedly used what he thought were clever tactics to drive a wedge between Ethan and Olivia. On the wedding day, that same friend used another excuse to whisk Olivia away. Ethan laughed. It was exactly what he wanted. He took off his suit and headed for the airport, never looking back. "Dad, I'm not getting married. I'm calling it off," he said over the phone. His dad sighed. "Didn't you and Olivia already plan everything out? Why the sudden change?" Ethan felt a pang in his heart, but only managed to say, "I realized she's not worth my time." There was some criticism in his father's voice. "You always insisted on being with Olivia, even knowing she liked your twin brother. Even if you two look alike, your personalities are different. Why take his place? Especially since your brother has been gone for so long." His mom then took the phone. "It's good you're coming back. Sophia from next door is back. Remember how you used to follow her everywhere when you were little?" Returning to the hospital room after the call, Ethan found it filled with Olivia's friends, lively as ever. Everyone was there with flowers and fruit for Olivia, and Ethan came empty-handed, not even bringing a bottle of water. Hearing the door open, everyone turned to see Ethan at the entrance. One frowned, showing dissatisfaction. "Aren't you Olivia's fiancé? Aren't you getting married next month? Why come without even a bouquet?" A bit amused, Ethan thought Olivia had been in a coma for a week and he'd been by her bedside without rest. People saw that, and now they accuse him of not caring. Next to Olivia sat a young man looking familiar, possibly a newly signed actor from the company named Henry. He was gently feeding Olivia porridge. Upon hearing their comments, Linda frowned slightly, getting upset. Seeing Ethan empty-handed, "Why are you so late?" Wanting to explain himself, Ethan swallowed his words. There was no need to argue anymore. He glanced at everyone in the room indifferently, ignored Olivia's question, and handed her phone to the nearest person. "I'm here to return her phone." With that, he turned and left the room without any hesitation or regret. Before the incident, Olivia had planned a motorcycle ride with friends on a challenging mountain road. Ethan discouraged her multiple times, but she brushed him off. "I know this road well. Just wait for me at the finish line." She tossed her phone to him and, amid laughter, sped off with others. Unfortunately, Olivia lost control, crashing hard. By the time the ambulance arrived, she was unconscious. During her coma, he'd been by her side non-stop. When her phone finally charged and powered on, a message flashed. "When are you going to tell Ethan you see him as a stand-in? This isn't right. He's 28 and can't waste time like this." Everyone knew Olivia liked Ethan's brother, Vincent, even Ethan. When Vincent went abroad, Ethan joined Olivia's company and eventually became her assistant. Olivia frequently flew out to see Vincent until returning distraught a year later. Approaching Ethan at work, she'd asked, "Do you like me?" He'd blushed, nodding vigorously. She'd smirked and dazed off looking at him until a car honk brought her back. Reaching a hand out, "Let's be together." Soon after, Ethan learned tragic news. Vincent had been killed abroad during a robbery by a biker gang. Watching the footage on his phone, he saw a police chase morph into a grisly scene with bloodstains along the street. After Vincent's funeral, Olivia returned to normal life, eating and sleeping as usual. People whispered she'd moved on after Vincent left the country, but Olivia hadn't let his brother go. Holding her phone, Ethan opened a chat between Olivia and her friend, Emma. Reading their conversation, "Emma, I don't like Ethan, but you're not being fair, Olivia." "Olivia, how is it unfair? He wants to be with me. I'm not forcing him." "Emma, Vincent adored Ethan. If he knew you were playing with his heart, he wouldn't forgive you." "Olivia, the dead don't know. I just want that face so like Vincent's." Emma did not reply, but moments before Olivia's accident, she messaged again, and that's when Ethan realized Olivia never really moved on from Vincent. Her agreement to marry Ethan was only because of his resemblance to his brother. Back at work, colleagues asked about the wedding, and Ethan forced a smile, saying it might be postponed due to Olivia's health. Handing in his resignation, later a co-worker teased about office romances, misunderstanding his intent to leave. Understanding the hint, Ethan chose not to correct and retrieved his resignation form, heading to Olivia's office and leaving the paper on her desk. He felt his sadness over the text had already drained as he walked out. Moments from their time together replayed, as vivid as ever. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Olivia, annoyed by Ethan's absence, forgot about him upon seeing Emma's messages. Back home, Ethan packed his things: toothbrushes, slippers, pajamas, everything they shared. While packing, he accidentally knocked over a photo frame on his nightstand with his elbow. It fell to the floor with a dull thud, shattering the dust-covered glass, and the ill-fitting photo inside slipped out. As he turned to grab a broom to clean up, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed something under the broken glass. There was more than one photo. His heart sank. He had a hunch about the answer. He gently nudged aside the glass shards and removed the cumbersome frame. To his surprise, there were actually 2 photos lying on the floor. When he flipped the pictures over, he saw that behind the photo of him and Olivia was a picture of his brother from college. Ethan held up the 2 photos in the blinding light, layering them. His brother's face replaced his. At that moment, he realized that when Linda glanced back then, she wasn't looking at him. That winter, during the first snowfall, Ethan had complained during the photo, "You're not even looking at me. I'm not that tall." Linda had been lost in the camera's viewfinder, eventually offering a faint smile. "Is that so? Let's retake it." Then, Ethan slumped to the floor, unfazed by the glass shards embedded in his palms. He'd thought that for at least a moment, Olivia had liked him, but he never imagined that even in those fleeting moments, her gaze wasn't for him. Suddenly, his phone rang. As he tried to stand, pain from his hand snapped him back to reality. He struggled to his feet and answered the call. It was Emma, and it sounded chaotic on her end. Ethan could barely decipher what she was saying. He could only pick out a few words to piece together that Olivia was causing a fuss about leaving the hospital for some celebrity's birthday. Hearing this, he irritably dabbed at the blood on his hands with some tissues. Let her be. If she doesn't care for her own health, nobody can persuade her. A brief silence followed, and Ethan realized it was yet another test. Throughout the years, he had been nothing more than a nominal boyfriend in Olivia's circle. She enjoyed testing his sincerity, relishing in seeing him worry over her. It dawned on Ethan that all this was because he looked too much like his brother. Olivia felt pangs of Vincent's concern for her through Ethan's face, but he was done with these tedious, cheap games. Emma was taken aback by his words, awkwardly glancing at Olivia, who was pulling the covers aside to get out of bed. "Never mind if he's not coming. Let's have fun," Olivia said, prompting cheers from everyone except Emma in the room. Emma wanted to say more, but realized Ethan had hung up at some point. Half a month later, Olivia hadn't done any wedding preparations, no invites, no sweets, no dress, no venue. Emma felt a bit sorry for Ethan. Meanwhile, Ethan disinfected and tended to his wounds alone. When he finished, he looked at his half-packed luggage and his bandaged hands. He knew he couldn't manage alone, so he called a moving company. They worked quickly, packing and boxing everything. 3 hours later, all his belongings were loaded onto a truck. Ethan sent them an address. "Deliver everything here." After they left, Ethan walked to the yard with his suitcase. He deleted his fingerprints and left the keys under the rug. Snowflakes began to fall, melting into sparkling droplets on him. A sudden urgent ringtone cut through the silence. He looked at the screen. It was Olivia. This shocked him. In 3 years of dating, she'd rarely called, usually just sent curt messages. After hesitating, he answered. The usual spot. "Come." She sounded impatient, confident he'd show up as always. Ethan backed out. "No, feeling sick. Can't drink." After a pause, her tone softened. "Not for drinks. Some execs here wanted to talk about that project you worked on." It wasn't an excuse he could easily reject. Though he'd left the job, the project was almost complete. A success would mean a contractual payout, and turning down money was never easy. Soon he arrived at the place via cab. As he opened the door, someone hiding behind it threw creamy cake directly at his face. Laughter erupted around him. The room was buzzing with deafening sound, confetti popping, shouts, and party horns blaring. It took a moment for Ethan to realize he'd been pranked again. Wiping the creamy mess from his face, he prepared to lash out. Instead, Henry approached with a cake. "Ethan, it's my birthday. Having cake on the face is a tradition." Henry's sunny disposition strove to turn the prank into harmless fun. Losing his temper would label Ethan a spoilsport, ruining everyone else's good time. Surveying the room, everyone had a small bit of cream on their faces, even Olivia, except him. He turned to the silent woman in the center. "Where are they?" Olivia raised a questioning brow. "Who?" She feigned ignorance. Realizing it was another trick because he hadn't willingly played the fool, Ethan quietly left to clean up. But when he turned on the tap, he saw his bandaged hands. Cream seeped into the fabric, mingling with blood. He felt drained of all energy. Facing the mirror, he cautiously unwrapped the bandages, letting the icy water cleanse his injuries. Pain might keep him awake to this truth. Olivia sat uncomfortably in the room, refusing a cigarette and swatting it away irritably. As Emma saw through her facade, "Go get him. At least apologize," Emma urged. Olivia scoffed, masking her anxiety. "Apologize for what? He was late. The partners wouldn't have waited if it wasn't for me. We wouldn't have the deal. He didn't thank me, gave me attitude instead." Della tried to reason despite her silence. "But he didn't know you secured the deal." He walked in with cream on his face, still asking about the clients after the prank. Who wouldn't be mad? Olivia rarely listened to Stella. She awkwardly stood up, grabbed her cigarettes and phone, and headed outside. Before leaving, she gave herself a little out. "I'm going out to get some air." Olivia found Ethan as he was borrowing a hairdryer from the staff. He had washed the cream out of his hair, but it wouldn't dry quickly. Plus, it was freezing outside. Stepping out would turn him into an ice sculpture. Ethan noticed Olivia out of the corner of his eye, but acted as though he didn't. Instead, he stood by the mirror drying his hair. Olivia watched his stubborn posture and suddenly felt like he was different somehow. She remembered how in the past, Ethan would run to her in tears whenever he was upset, throwing himself into her arms to complain. But now he calmly sorted through his emotions and straightened his clothes, showing no signs of anger or dependency. She walked over and took the hairdryer from Ethan's hands. Startled by her actions, Ethan quickly dodged her hand. "No, it's fine. I can do it myself." Olivia snatched the hairdryer back. Her slightly cool fingers touched Ethan's, and he instinctively pulled away. "What's wrong?" she asked, frowning. "Nothing," Ethan replied awkwardly. "Just tickles, that's all." Olivia, for once, explained herself. "That little star is someone my mom pushed on me. It's his birthday, so I had to do something." Ethan nodded softly, which Olivia took as a sign of understanding. Standing there too long made her legs ache. She remembered something and suddenly spoke up. "Oh, about the wedding. I've been busy, but I've already asked a factory to make samples for the invitations and wedding favors. Plus, a famous designer from abroad is working on the dress, and he'll be here the day after tomorrow. Is there anything else you think we need?" Her gaze locked with Ethan's reflection in the mirror, hoping he'd show some excitement at her words. However, Ethan was worn out by all this talk. The constant delays and indifference about the wedding had made him not want to go through with it. He even planned to skip out, leaving Olivia as the town's joke. Thinking of this, Ethan chuckled. "No, nothing's missing. You just go ahead and plan." Seeing him finally smile, Olivia nodded. Suddenly, she felt something odd stick to her hand. Loosening her grip on the hairdryer, she discovered unexpected blood on her palm. She paused briefly before discreetly checking Ethan's hand. His skin was pale and scary from being soaked, yet his palm was bloodied, with droplets slipping off his fingers and landing on the floor. She placed the hairdryer on the sink, hesitating. "Your hand," Ethan snapped out of it. Seeing Linda's worried look in the mirror, he gave a forced smile. "No big deal. Just cut it slicing fruit." Olivia seemed unfazed. "Next time, let the maids do it." What she didn't know was Ethan had let them go. Some weren't trustworthy and had stolen while he was with Olivia at the hospital. It was only by chance that Ethan caught them red-handed when he'd gone home to retrieve something. Otherwise, the whole house would have been cleaned out. "I'll take you to get the cut checked." Ethan was about to decline when Emma's urgent calls interrupted. Both turned to see Emma breathless, leaning against a wall, motioning with her other hand for them to follow. "Olivia, it's Henry." "He? What about him?" Olivia quickly asked. Emma explained with difficulty. After swallowing hard while lighting up, he accidentally set his hair on fire. Now he's freaking out in the suite, and no one can calm him down. You should check on him. Without hesitation, Olivia dashed towards the suite. Emma was about to leave when Ethan stopped her in a gentle but cold tone. "Emma, what's the deal with Henry and Olivia?" Emma halted, hesitant to face him. Eventually, with a heavy sigh, she turned to meet Ethan's eyes. Basically, they're like siblings. Henry's family went bankrupt over 20 years ago, and so he stayed with Olivia's. They've always been like brother and sister, but all of us could see Henry liked Olivia. He stayed abroad until he heard about Olivia's accident and rushed back. Olivia's mom arranged for him to sign with the Smiths Entertainment Company. With Olivia backing him, he'd have it easy. Ethan pieced it together immediately. No wonder Henry felt so at ease by Olivia's hospital bed, feeding her soup. No wonder he dared to smear cream on her face in front of everyone. And no wonder the fastidious Olivia let Henry do it without throwing a fit. It was clear Olivia had allowed it all. After dealing with Henry's issue, Olivia remembered Ethan and reached for her coat to leave, only for Henry to grab her wrist. She glanced down at his hopeful expression as if wanting to speak. "Ever since I got back," Henry began, "I've been renting. It's a bit uncomfortable. Can I move back home?" Olivia checked her watch, nodding absently. "As your sister, of course you can stay. I'll make sure you get a spare key, but Ethan and I are getting married soon. Living with us might not be best. If you find a place you like, I'll buy it for you." Henry, unsatisfied, reluctantly agreed. He released Olivia's wrist, knowing pushing further was pointless. When Ethan received Olivia's call, he just put his things away in the hotel. Olivia sounded eager on the line. "Where'd you go?" "Just shopping." "What?" Ethan replied unhurriedly. A second of silence followed. Then, "I'm being discharged today. Will you come pick me up?" "Sure," Ethan agreed. After hanging up, he took a cab to the hospital. Once Olivia was ready with her bags, standing with Ethan at the entrance, a chilling wind blew around them. "Didn't drive?" Olivia asked curiously. Ethan nodded, pulling out his phone to call a car. To his surprise, Olivia just waited patiently beside him, unlike before, when she would have thrown a fit. Back home, Olivia instinctively waited for Ethan to unlock the door, but after a long pause, he hadn't moved. As they met each other's gaze, Ethan quickly made something up. "Left in a rush, forgot my keys." She seemed unsurprised, probably used to Ethan's forgetful ways. In that instant, coming inside the house felt strangely empty to Olivia, like something was missing, yet she couldn't pinpoint what. After surveying the room, she turned to Ethan. "What happened to the maids?" "Caught them stealing, fired them," he replied, placing her bags in the living room. Olivia nodded thoughtfully. "If someone's stealing, let them go. We'll just hire someone else." Just then, there was a knock on the door. Ethan was closest to the door, so he walked over and opened it to find 7 or 8 suitcases on the doorstep. Henry bypassed Ethan, who had opened the door for him, and headed straight for Olivia, sitting on the couch. "Olivia, why didn't you tell me when you were discharged? I could have picked you up." Olivia smiled, changing the subject. "Did you check out the script for the show the company arranged for you? You'll be working with some popular actors. It'll be a test of your skills." Henry transformed from the lively character he was earlier to an affectionate puppy. He leaned his head on Olivia's shoulder, acting all innocent. "I knew you cared for me. You've got the best projects lined up for me. Don't worry, I won't let you down." Olivia nodded, satisfied with his words. The cold wind howled outside. Ethan stood by the door and watched the cheerful scene unfold, suddenly feeling like an outsider. The first time Olivia brought Ethan home to discuss marriage, it was because Ethan pushed her to do it. But as soon as she mentioned it, Olivia's mom was the first to object. "How many times will you fall for a greenhorn? They're nothing compared to us Smiths. I won't ever agree to this marriage." Her dad, Calvin, tearfully demanded. "What spell did they cast on my daughter? First it was your brother. Now it's your brother." What was supposed to be a happy family dinner fell apart. Afterward, Olivia returned to their home, mocking Ethan's guilty expression. "You pushed it, and look where it got us. Happy now." A few days later, Olivia went on a reckless drive with friends, and that's when the accident happened. Outside the ER, Olivia's mom and Calvin were in tears, promising that if Olivia was okay, she could do as she wished. Ethan was jolted back to the present by their laughter. "I'm heading out," he said. Olivia realized she'd ignored Ethan again. She stood up, blocking his way. "Where are you going? Don't we live together?" Ethan brushed his windswept hair. "We're not married yet. We shouldn't live together. People might talk, you know." Olivia was about to reply when Henry chimed in. "Ethan is right. You don't want him becoming a laughingstock." Ethan's eyes met Henry's smug grin, and he found it a bit childish. Olivia didn't stop Ethan the next day and the following day. Ethan came over to look at wedding invitations with Olivia. Everything was perfect. Olivia felt at ease and noticed how Ethan seemed kinder and more accommodating lately. It made her look forward to their married life. Then came the wedding day. Henry was strangely quiet. Despite Olivia's messages, he hadn't replied. She nervously clutched her phone and tried to explain to Ethan. Henry took on a period drama. He's really busy, and it involves wire work. I worry if he's handling it. He hasn't replied all morning. Linda was so busy calling Henry that she barely paid attention to Alex. He didn't care about Henry and wasn't about to pry. With only 2 hours before the ceremony, Alex was thinking about his getaway once more guests arrived. He could slip out easily. What did you say? Olivia's anxious voice snapped Ethan back. Those words out to be true. Henry had an accident on set. The director called Olivia, saying he got hurt during a scene. She quickly pressed down on Ethan's shoulder, her eyes red. Sorry, Ethan, Henry got hurt. I have to go. Now, he asked. Yes, I'm really sorry. Can we postpone the wedding? Realizing she was overstepping, Olivia promised. I'll be back by evening. Ethan, please wait for me. With his chance clear, Ethan agreed easily. Sure. Olivia was surprised at how easy and genuine his response was. Ethan was exactly who she wanted now, making her secretly happy they'd be the couple everyone envied. She was sure of it. I'm leaving. Olivia rushed out, pausing at the hotel entrance. Her groom stood there, handsome in his suit. Ethan would wait. As soon as Olivia's car vanished from sight, Ethan changed, grabbed his pre-packed suitcase, and quietly left. 2 hours later, both bride and groom were missing, leaving guests in chaos. No one knew if it was postponed or canceled. No answers were given. Meanwhile, Ethan was boarding a flight. He discarded his SIM card, leaving his past behind without a glance back. Olivia immediately contacted their family doctor to meet her at Henry's location. Throughout the ride, her emotions surged. Anxiety drained her. When Olivia arrived, the doctor was already there. Henry was in the center, surrounded by people. The doctor squeezed in to check on him, but Henry screamed, clutching his head. Everyone stood confused, unsure of what to do. Olivia pushed through the crowd to reach him. Henry, recognizing her, burst into tears and clung to her hand. While she worried about Ethan, Olivia spoke calmly. Let the doctor check you, Henry. We need to see if you're hurt, okay? Henry hesitated, dread showing in his eyes. My leg hurts. Maybe it's injured, he mumbled. Olivia nodded, signaling the doctor to proceed. But as the doctor approached, Henry recoiled. The doctor tried reasoning. Henry, it's just a checkup. It won't hurt. If you're injured, delaying can be worse. Please cooperate so we can help. Seeing Henry's reluctance, Olivia grew suspicious. Her patience was wearing thin. She shouted, Henry, stop wasting time and let the doctor do his job. Her voice echoed across the set, prompting the director to smartly clear the area. Shocked by Olivia's outburst, Henry reluctantly extended his leg. After checking, the doctor found no injury on Henry. Olivia fumed at the lie. Thinking of Ethan's understanding made her feel even worse. She couldn't be bothered to argue with Henry and walked straight to her car. Seeing her leave, Henry hastened to catch up. He clung to Olivia's arm like he used to, whining. Olivia, I just wanted to see if you've forgotten your little brother now that you're married, but it seems like you still remember me. Seeing Olivia's face remain expressionless, Henry continued, There's a new restaurant that just opened nearby. Won't you accompany me for a meal? Before he could finish, Olivia forcefully shook off Henry's hand. Get lost. Henry stumbled backward. Having leaned his weight on Olivia as she pushed him away, he lost his balance and fell. Olivia's voice was icy cold and full of disdain, and her look towards Henry became more hostile. It's my wedding day, and you tricked me with such petty schemes. What was your intention? I told you even if I got married, you'd still be my brother. Why would you do all this? Sitting on the ground, Henry looked at Olivia in disbelief, his eyes starting to well up. Tears fell like broken strings of pearls. He wanted to explain, but words failed him. All he could do was watch powerlessly as Olivia's car drove away. In the car, Olivia reached for her phone to call Ethan when her father called. Once she answered, Calvin's furious scolding hit her like a storm. Where did you go? Today? What kind of stunt are you and your groom pulling? Are you trying to drive me insane?" Knowing she was at fault, Olivia's voice turned somber. "Something came up on my side, so we had to delay the wedding." Calvin was enraged. His furious voice continued to bark through the phone. By that time, Olivia had reached the wedding venue. Ignoring Calvin's unrelenting yelling, she hung up the call. She sprinted towards the entrance, opening the door to the wedding hall. She found it empty and dark. The decorations from earlier that morning lay scattered, rustling slightly with the wind. She let in. She tried calling Ethan, but the mechanical voice answered every time. "The number you're calling is currently unavailable." Disbelieving, she redialed several times with the same result. Desperate, she sent a series of messages. "Ethan, are you mad at me? I went overboard. I'm sorry. Could you at least reply or pick up my call?" Yet the lack of response from the normally quick replying Ethan was unnerving. She convinced herself he was just upset, giving her the cold shoulder. Olivia asked her HR colleague to reach out to Ethan instead. The colleague replied, puzzled. "Olivia, Ethan resigned a while ago. Didn't you know?" Olivia's grip on the phone tightened in shock. "What, quit? No way." More bewildered, the colleague explained, "Company policy is against office romances, so Ethan resigned about half a month ago." Hanging up, Olivia rushed out to her car, unable to believe Ethan had quit. She needed to find out. At the office, arriving at the company, Olivia's phone rang again. Hope filled her until she saw Henry's name on the screen. She tossed the phone to her assistant, who answered it professionally, stating Olivia was busy. In Ethan's office, everything was gone. No personal effects, not even a pen left behind. Not wanting to accept reality, she staggered back to her office. There, on her desk, lay Ethan's resignation letter. She checked the date hurriedly. It was indeed stamped on Henry's birthday, 2 weeks prior. She recalled Ethan's calm agreement to the wedding delay, no complaints, no hesitations, almost as if he had anticipated it. Then it clicked that everything of his at home disappeared overnight. His explanation of avoiding gossip before marriage seemed less convincing considering their years of cohabitation. She had missed all the signs. Panicked, she picked up the letter, turning it slightly to reveal Ethan's handwriting on the back. "Let's break up, Olivia." The stark words cut deep. Her heart ached with a numbing thud. Still in denial, she refused to believe Ethan would leave so silently. Remembering his words about returning home if things went sour, Olivia booked the earliest flight back to S City. The journey wasn't short. Ethan's plane hit turbulence and had to redirect, delaying his arrival until late that night. Emerging from the terminal at S City, Ethan spotted his parents waiting, huddled close against the chill. Their love seemed untouched by time. He adjusted his coat and headed towards them. On the drive, Ethan deflected his dad's inquiries about the city with light-hearted chuckles. Everything was fine. No one mentioned Olivia. It was as if she were erased from their lives. In the car, his bank account suddenly chimed with a new deposit. Recognizing Linda's company account, he was bewildered. He was no longer employed there, but the sum was substantial, far more than any salary. Puzzled, he decided to ignore it for now. Arriving home, the gate swung open in welcome. A woman was standing in the room with a big smile on her face. Her eyes sparkled like stars, and she wore an apron that didn't quite fit. In her hands was a spatula for cooking. When she saw Alex with a suitcase, Vivian hurriedly put down the spatula to help him with his luggage. Alex was thrown off by the sight of the face before him, a face he hadn't seen in over 10 years, and that seemed a bit unfamiliar now. Once he regained his composure, he pulled his suitcase away, silently refusing her help. "Thanks, but no thanks." Vivian didn't seem deterred by his refusal. When Alex struggled with the suitcase on the steps, she reached out to steady him as he nearly stumbled. Feeling embarrassed for trying too hard to be independent, Alex quietly mumbled a thank you and walked into the house. Before he could set down his suitcase, familiar voices echoed through the house. "Alex, have you missed me all these years?" Surprised, Alex looked up to see Vivian's father approaching him. When Alex was a kid, his parents often weren't around because they were working to make more money. Even though they hired a nanny to take care of him and his brother, the nanny was more interested in money than her job. Back then, without surveillance cameras, she'd pocket most of the grocery money. Their meals were meager, leaving Alex and Victor constantly hungry. One day, the aroma of braised pork ribs wafted through the air to their home. Hungry, Alex knocked on the neighbor's door with his little bowl. After the door opened, he nervously asked, "Uncle, can we have some meat?" Even after all these years, Uncle was still just as gentle. Alex took a few steps forward to hug him and said, "Yes, and I still want your braised pork ribs." Everyone laughed, and Alex's mom invited them all to sit down. Once the last dish was served, everyone began eating. Alex hadn't rested well on his flight. The layovers and turbulence left him drained. He just wanted to finish dinner fast and crash into bed. But the dinner conversation veered toward his least favorite topic, marriage. He quickly downed a few mouthfuls of food and was about to leave when his aunt playfully asked, "Alex, did you meet any nice girls while in city?" Caught off guard, Alex reluctantly nodded. "Yes, but they're not interested in me." His parents exchanged looks and started their pep talk. "You're not getting any younger, almost 29. Time to find someone and get married." Responding with half-hearted nods, Alex wished he could disappear. Luckily, Vivian changed the subject, giving him a much-needed break. When the clock struck midnight and the guests left, Alex's father cautiously asked him, "Do you have any feelings for Vivian at all?" Sighing, Alex closed his eyes and revealed the truth behind his distancing himself. "It's not me she likes, it's my brother." Mentioning Victor darkened his parents' expressions. Realizing he had brought up painful memories of his late brother, Alex felt guilty. After his brother's passing, Alex rarely came home. He knew his face reminded his parents of Victor. As he lay in bed watching the snow outside, Alex made a decision. He was an adult now and needed his own place, not to live with his parents. All those years in City A paid off. Working with Linda, he had saved enough to buy a 400 square meter apartment in one of the central areas of City S, no mortgage needed. His parents didn't object, even offering to help with the renovation costs, but Alex insisted on covering it all himself. House hunting went smoothly, and Alex loved the location. When night fell, the riverside view was like a flowing painting. The buying process wrapped up quickly, leaving just the renovation work. Returning home one day, he spotted a new luxury car blocking his driveway. The car's windows were tinted, revealing nothing about its occupants. He honked, but the car didn't budge. Alex, still in high spirits from buying a house, wasn't irritated. He simply got out to ask the driver to move. Tapping on the window, an older woman inside gestured him over. "I'm just the driver. You should talk to my boss." The back window opened, revealing Linda's familiar face. The good mood vanished. Alex never expected Linda to follow him here. Standing firm, his voice turned flat. "Could you please move your car?" "Thank you." Caught off guard by his tone, Linda stammered, "Alex, why did you leave without a word? We just agreed to postpone the wedding, didn't we?" Alex didn't want to engage further. When Linda made no move to leave, he called building security. Linda stepped out, gently grabbing his wrist. "Don't be mad. Come back with me," she pleaded, her voice heavy. Coldly ending the call with security on its way, Alex looked at Linda seriously. "We didn't register our marriage. We're not legally married, and since we're over, we should act like we're dead to each other. Let's not interfere in each other's lives again." Linda wouldn't let go. "When did we break up? Are you upset over the client meeting? The deal's done. Money transferred. I just wanted." Now Alex understood that mysterious payment a while back. He pulled away, rubbing his sore wrist. "So thanks, Linda, for closing that deal for me." Trying to continue, Linda was interrupted by security arriving to address her parking. Alex had no interest in further conversation. He told security, "She doesn't live here. Don't let her in again." After agreeing, security spoke with Linda. Alex got in his car, watching Linda eventually drive away. Inside, Alex's father approached awkwardly. "That was Linda outside, right? She waited for hours." His mother's face darkened as she kicked some expensive gifts Linda had left. "Chasing you here." Seeing the gifts, Alex was frustrated. "Linda left these? Now things are more tangled," his father explained. "We didn't want them, but she insisted. With neighbors watching, we couldn't refuse." Determined, Alex immediately scheduled a courier pickup. There was no way Linda would accept these back in person, so sending them to her office to avoid complications. When the courier arrived, Alex firmly chose cash on delivery before heading back inside. As he walked to the door, a familiar figure approached. Just then, Vivian emerged with boxes of festive goodies in hand, smiling as she came over. "Getting ready for the new year. My mom and I picked these out snacks for you. Tea for your dad, skincare for your mom." A sharp question cut through Vivian's words. Alex. Who is she? Alex's gaze moved past Vivian to Linda. Her cheeks were kind of flushed, her eyes looked dazed, and her chapped lips all screamed that Linda was sick. She was a lady who rarely got sick, but when she did, it was. Vivian saw that Linda wasn't feeling well and tried to help her, but Linda snapped at her. Even though Vivian had a great temperament, dealing with Linda made her frustrated. Alex stepped in between them. He looked at Linda and could tell she was really trying to tough it out, even refusing to go to the hospital. He adjusted his coat and said coldly, "If you don't want to die, get your driver to take you to the hospital. If you want to die, don't do it at my doorstep. Walk 20 miles west. There's a cemetery there." After saying that, he didn't hesitate and went inside with Vivian, who had come to drop off a gift. They hadn't walked far when they heard a thud. Turning around, they saw Linda had collapsed in the snow. Eventually, Alex and Vivian took Linda to the hospital. The doctor took her temperature and frowned. 102 degrees. Almost cooked her brain. Why didn't she come sooner? Alex and Vivian exchanged glances and lied in unison. "We found her on the street. Don't know her." The doctor seemed satisfied with that and gave Linda some medicine, then had a nurse start the treatment. For hours later, Linda was still unconscious, and Alex didn't want any drama. So he grabbed her phone and called Stella. Stella answered after a ring, sounding a bit lazy. "Hey, how's chasing after him going? Did his parents kick you out?" Alex just sighed. "Not sure. I wasn't home." There was silence from Stella. If his phone didn't show they were still connected, Alex would have thought she hung up. Breaking the silence, Alex said, "Linda's in the hospital. Come pick her up and take her back to City A. I'll text you the hospital address." Stella seemed to snap back to reality, stammering, "WH, what hospital? How did that happen? Did you two make up?" Without waiting to hear her out, Alex hung up the call. He noticed that Linda had pinned him in her contacts. He recalled when they first started dating, he'd bugged her to do it. She seemed annoyed then, asking, "What's with the pinning obsession? I don't pin anyone." As he reminisced, he saw a message from her. "Did you stop wanting me?" Clearly, it was sent to him. While his fingers browsed for Stella's chat, a call came in. By bad luck, he accidentally answered it, and his screen showed Thomas on the other line, frantically calling for Linda's name. Alex hesitated but decided to be upfront. He shouted into the phone, "Stop calling. Linda's sick and unconscious right now. If you're free, you and Stella should come to City S to get her." On that note, the person on the line went quiet. Everyone today seemed to think silence was a cure-all. Alex hung up and returned the phone to Linda's side. Just then, Vivian broke the silence. "That's Linda, right?" Alex nodded, not surprised Vivian recognized her. They both had chased after Victor. Linda constantly flew back and forth, convinced Victor wouldn't leave without seeing Vivian's face. Presumably, they'd met and perhaps even fought once. Linda returned from abroad with a bruised face. It wasn't anything major, but enough to raise questions. Back then, Alex was the secretary, so he only got her ointment under the assistant's orders. Linda got chewed out by Calvin, who also took it out on the assistant. Back home, Alex paused at the door. He felt there were things he needed to clarify with Vivian, who seemed puzzled by his halt. He turned to face her. "I think we should clear things up," he said. Vivian quietly asked, "What's on your mind?" Taking a deep breath, Alex said, "If you see me as a stand-in for my brother like Linda did, then this silly game can end. I'm not a substitute. I'm just Alex. I'm not as talented as my brother, can't study abroad, and don't have admirers chasing me. I lead a plain life." Vivian raised her eyebrows, smiling warmly. "Is that it?" Alex hesitated. This feeling had lingered for so long, waiting for the right time to confess. But Vivian surprisingly seemed relieved, not embarrassed, meeting his gaze. "I've never seen you as anyone's substitute. I like you for you." Vivian thought her words would move Alex, but he snapped like a cat getting startled. "You're lying." He didn't give her a chance to argue. He forcefully shut the garden gate, leaving her outside without looking back. Vivian stood there, confused, as Alex walked away. For the next few days, Alex stayed home. Linda hadn't shown up, probably back in City A with Stella. After he laid it all out with Vivian, she never returned to his house. Alex's mom, feeling uneasy, sipped her tea and looked at Alex, who was lazily watching cartoons. "You really got no feelings for Vivian? She's quite the catch, you know. Many at her company would jump at the chance. Why waste it?" Alex shrugged in reply. His parents exchanged glances. His dad brought over some documents and nudged him. Alex, your uncle shared some girls' profiles with us. They're around your age. Your dad's been setting you up with some great girls. You're not getting any younger. It's time to find someone. You can't give up the whole forest just because of one dead tree like Linda, right? Alex had been hearing these words so often that he was tired of it. To avoid more of these tricky situations, he took the documents from his dad, pretended to study them for a few minutes, and then agreed. Okay, I'll go on a date tomorrow. Happy now. Seeing some progress, the worried look on the parents' faces finally relaxed. The next day, while heading out, Alex ran into his uncle on his way out. After they exchanged greetings, Alex asked, "Where are you headed in such a hurry, Uncle?" His uncle, looking a little troubled, glanced at the folder in his hand. "Vivian left some documents at home that she needs for a meeting. I gotta take them to her." Alex nodded. "Okay, don't let me hold you up." Uncle paused at the car door, looking slyly at Alex. "Hey, Alex, where are you headed?" "My leg's been acting up. Driving's tough." He rubbed his knee, acting as if it really hurt. Alex checked his phone. "To that coffee shop, the one near the big tree." Uncle's smile was almost too hard to hide. Bending over his leg again, he said, "Well, that coffee shop's right by Vivian's office. Could you drop these off for me?" With no way to dodge the request, Alex took the folder and got going without delay. Driving to Vivian's office, he hadn't been there before and didn't know which floor her office was on, so he hesitated before heading to the reception desk. "Hi, could you make sure this gets to Vivian?" The receptionist took the folder and looked surprised upon seeing the snowflake logo in the top corner. "Could you leave your name and number?" Alex scribbled down his details, handed back the pen, and left. Arriving at the coffee shop, he was 3 minutes late. Feeling bad, he immediately started explaining, "I apologize for the delay. I got held up." The woman across from him tapped the table impatiently. "Okay, enough with the niceties. Let's get to it. Got a car? What kind? Got a house? How big? Where is it? How many relationships? Education? Savings? You think you can catch a sugar mama with your situation?" As she spoke, her spit sprayed across the table. Alex had to stand up to avoid her chemical assault, holding back laughter as he retorted, "You've got quite the draft going here. Ever seen a mirror? Is your reflection named Matt?" The spit-flying woman seemed to have the power to make anyone feel dirty. As he moved to leave, the woman grabbed his wrist. "How dare you insult me? You need a lesson. After marriage, you'll walk all over me otherwise." She said this while raising her hand to hit him. Without hesitation, he grabbed the hot coffee from the table and splashed it on her face. She screamed, loosening her grip, and Alex took off toward the door. As he did, he ran into someone entering. The familiar scent of cologne mixed with disinfectant hit him, and he lifted his head, meeting Linda's eyes. Her previously dull eyes brightened instantly at the sight of Alex. But before she could speak, the woman with the coffee-stained face charged in. The woman locked eyes with Alex, hurling foul words and reaching out to grab him. Linda quickly stepped in front to block her. Even with a voice weakened by illness, Linda's words carried weight. "If you have something to say it to me." Suddenly, rapid footsteps approached. Alex turned to see Stella and Thomas rushing over, followed by several bodyguards. The woman, shorter than Linda, had already lost her composure but wasn't ready to give up without a fight. "This jerk used boiling coffee on me. My new high-end suit, that's $1,000. I demand tenfold compensation." The woman screamed like she wouldn't stop until she got her way. Hearing her insults, Linda's gaze turned icy. "What did you call him?" The woman, oblivious to her mistake, continued yelling, "What's he to you?" Playing the hero for him. Linda didn't let her finish, and the fist came swinging, leading to a scuffle. Alex and a distressed Stella separated them, but Linda, still recovering from an illness, was at a disadvantage despite her height. Trying to mediate, Stella urged, "Let's not fight, okay? We can talk this over." Thomas, like a worried ant, fussed nearby, concerned for Linda. "Linda, you okay? Did you get hurt?" Seeing the bruises on Linda's hand, Thomas turned to Alex, scolding him loudly. "You left. Remember why? Come back into her life if you're staying, but if you're leaving, do it right. Don't play stupid games."